Love is like a flower, it grows and it blooms. But like a flower, love dies too. What you see, death is part of the flower, much as life is. Dead flowers are the ones you remember. It is when the ends fully bloom is what remains forever. But you see, death is part of the flower as much as life is. But dead flowers aren't the ones you remember. It is when it's fully bloomed. It is when it's fully bloomed. It's what remains forever, forever. Love is like a flower, it grows and it blooms. But like a flower, love dies too. But you see, death is part of the flower as much as life is. But dead flowers aren't the ones you remember. It is when it's fully bloomed is what remains forever. Is what remains forever, forever. Is what remains forever, forever. Love is like a flower, it grows and it blooms. But like a flower, love dies too. But you see, death is part of the flower as much as life is. But dead flowers are the ones you remember. It is when it's fully bloomed is what remains forever. Love is like a flower, it grows and it blooms. But like a flower, love dies too. But you see, death is part of the flower as much as life is. But dead flowers are the ones you remember. Is when it's fully bloomed is what remains forever.
The whole night burning walls, spending their souls. And for what? A copied painting of a painting, floods of copycats. Ready to paint with, nothing to say. Nothing to say, but nay. Nothing to paint with but expensive paints. Indeed, curiosity is bliss. Not enough questions, only unsure thoughts. Why, oh why must you copy my life? My oh my, why don't you just die? Morbid as it may seem, but in my eyes you're already dead. Not because I curse you or block you as a friend. No, it's because you chose to copy someone else's life. You sell yourself out to gain merit or to inherit internet points or have your own voice. I actually don't care. Better to show a mirror on you next art exhibit to blatantly say that that's me on your gallery wall. Go ahead, steal this idea. It's something I came up with writing this at McDonald's while sipping my iced coffee and munching on some Twister fries. Surely you could do worse. However, I don't really blame you. At least you're being yourself, a mimic, a copy of someone else, a knockoff. Like I said, it would be better if you just died. Please don't mind my brutality. It only hurts if you're qualified. But to be honest, I'm really not evil. Even if you don't admit it, it's okay. At least you know what you are. At least you know the truth, and that's all there is to it. And you and people like you makes us all look bad. Making art not about life, but about crap mentality. Backstabbing, gold digging, ill-conceived ideas, stealing scene, making art all look the same. You make me barf, but even I can make that into art. Fucking change, make our limited stay on this earth a little bit more bearable. Not to sound patriotic, but let's all try to change our state of the arts.
Just a concept at all. The highest point of our genius is when we are thinking of God. To tap to that wavelength, hearing its frequency is like no other. Just the thought of Him gives our darkest days light. Conceptual art is hard to understand at times for the normies alive, but to a point high art is God. Though obviously the former is vastly more complex than the latter. And even the concept of God can be explained or identified easier than the modern expression is. And yet one is easier to connect than the other. So maybe then conceptual art is not natural, not an organic form of nature, not a good design, for it is harder to grasp at times than the eternal. And even trying not to understand God is more a difficult chore to task.
Unguarded, unattended, while I did a life. someone. Of course I'm joking, I never steal myself away, pondering. Nevertheless, this reminds me of the time when I wrote something on my laptop and then a blackout suddenly came to visit, and I had not saved half of my entry onto the file. And when the lights came back, half of it indeed was gone. I had to rewrite all the random stuff again out from my immediate memory as best I could. But when and after I got most of it down, almost the same ideas, but more concise and refined. Some were still lost to recollection, but some new ones were added. A fair amount was included, rethinking the same ideas. And then I wondered whether the former was better than the latter. And I couldn't decide, but then I suddenly compared the dilemma with present and past lovers, of how we can see the faults of those who were with us then, and now at all the best moments of both. And we somewhat proceed to compare, even though we should not. But then we really have to choose for our own good. Who is the best? And the best, I decided, is the one you have now. Because you now have the hindsight of not having to hurt your current companion as much as you did the last one, which you cheated on because she was a total bitch. Or she cheated on you because she was a bitch. And by the fact that you couldn't conjure back the past that was lost, even if you did want it to. But now since you have learned your lessons and you listen more intently to the telltale signs, the best version is the final version of you or your poems. It is what you have now, whatever it is, as long as you refine it and yourself for the better. Ooh, what you have in the end is who stays with you in the end. Who you have in the end is who can survive you.
Want to turn something invisible, look at it every day. If you want to see something invisible, close your eyes. If you want to find something, give up looking for it. If you want to give up on something, look at your life before you found it. If you want to know the true meaning of a word, read it back to front. If someone is talking fast and that life responds slowly and calmly, catch them by the details in which they think you didn't notice. When someone is kind, treat them kindly back. Kind people are as rare as diamonds. Return the favor by not being cold. Things on repeat, things that had to have two mistakes to learn the lesson twice. Though the sharp mind goes dull with repetitive manual tasks, the one who knows not and is enveloped with pride will fight to the death their naive beliefs, no matter how uneducated or unfounded. Thus they will die, ignorant to the subject at hand, which is all but avoidable. No notebook and pen beside the bed. No words for poetry bent. Death is common, living is rare. There are truly devils, evil incarnate, just that some are varied in degree. Vices abound where some are more heinous, whispering onto every ear. And Jesus can exorcise them by talking to them to get out. But say Jesus is the Emmanuel, the manual, the person with God to be. And if he can expel demons, so could we. And so these little devils and sins of our bad deeds, little demons then possessed are we. Ideas not of our own, infected thinking, and virtue not of the sort, but all these should be recognized. Who we listen to and listening be. What deadly sin we could catch if we let ourselves be who we are not really meant to be. And who are we? We should be like Jesus, who showed us the right way to be. And of our body, it is the living temple of God, and not the churches. Someone even said that there are more devils in the church, seducing the trying and repenting masses. A bit exaggerate, but to make sense, as when we try to be holy, the invisible devil wants to manifest in us immediately. In our heads he begins, so that we may make him physical, no longer in the between. Our vessel is under who we let it dry, under the influence of alcohol or anger. The evil is present and prevalent. The little devils we let past are the ones we create, propagate, and cast suffering, and should be smited must. Instead let in the voice of God in us, him with angels as guides to be just. And now let our ears and mind follow only him. We must, we must.
I had to hang out with some so-called friends who never really got me, and in exchange even stole my ideas and they just gobbling up, eating their prescription. To feed my addiction, I told someone I loved her, though I didn't. Desperate for affection, lust and love for lust, and a reprieve for depression. My body, my master, my hunger for validation. Command. To feed my addiction, I went ahead and took the money, even though I didn't finish the project. The lucky ones got something, but only had a lackluster artwork to be the proof of the transaction. But then suddenly there came a time where I had to entirely quit my affliction to my addiction, cold turkey. Like a peasant escaping his captor, like a servant being its own master. But then a new addiction arose, but no, it wasn't new at all. All along it has been the source of my previous condition, being unfulfilled I dulled my senses and went up the hill so that I may feel the high. I tried to kill my ambition, but my self-medication and consumption never kept me upside. All it did was make me feel more pain. The higher I got, the faster, harder the fall from my quick elevation. No, this conviction was ancient, to my core it belonged, and maybe the birth of my being. There was this opposition to my termination and inhibition, a sense of dedication. My existence, my attention, accepting my fate and destiny to art. My original affection is now feeding me. My past problem has now become and has always been my permanent solution. Now I excel in exhibitions, exude recognition, and feed my curiosities in art expeditions full of commissions and societal and cultural contributions. A starving artist, now I am not. My days filled to the brim with submissions and destinations. My art is now my sole addiction.
Slumbering, awoke, going back, sleeping. Did it, went back to the dream. Wasn't that? Interesting. Wasn't that to your dream? Looking back, interesting. Wasn't that interesting?
Turn off your TV. Turn off your phone. Tell me all is good. Duality. Duality. Drawing in my sleep. Oh. Now is the time when he watched her. Compel thyself to move. entertain the gods. Ooh, caught by your eyes, piercing like sunlight into a dark room. Ooh, your eyes, your unshy eyes, your unshy fucking eyes. Ooh, maybe not now, but one day all love will be known. Turn off your TV, turn off your phone, turn me on instead, turn me on instead. Duality, duality, drawing in my sleep. That was the time wherein he watched her. Compel thyself to move forward. Let us entertain the gods. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Caught by your eyes, piercing like sunlight, to light into a dark room. Ooh, ooh. Your eyes, your unshy eyes, your unshy fucking eyes. Maybe not now, but one day all love will be known. Ooh.
Like flame, the sweet carcass of a deer or lamb, I swiftly slice the tender and usable parts of an air conditioner box, cutting off the excess unusable scraps and letting the prime cuts brim off energy. A few strokes of white latex and an oil painting is at hand. A solution to my 365 days of art, self-imposed challenge, which I might add is somewhat of a fun ride to let me whims and imagination fly. What more with this certain direction, somewhere to put my energies reside, turn kinetic onto a target white as snow and blank as how my mind would allow. Like a butcher, I pack away the parts where they belong. Small tender bits for smaller thoughts, bigger pieces could be cut up to more when the idea of a better series arises. I've recently noticed that when I accept things that I think are scary or really out of my comfort zone, I discover new and great things. Seems like a no-brainer, but it is our very brains that prevents us from these very dangerous and new territories. We seldom see challenges as desirable. However, we should reprogram our thinking and seek these new art adventures and experiments for us to discover who we really are in our newfound art, and peel away the doubts that were only force-fed to us by our peers, either to protect us from a violent awakening or dim our bright and shining lights. So I say this, my fellow artist, be brave and create new forms of art.
my heart breaks every time I meet an artist who has given up on painting. Art is something you're really good at. Artists are people who are really good at something. If they aren't good at what they claim to be good at, are they still artists? If you're willing to do something forever or an infinite amount of times, you have found your true art. The only mistake is to stop making your kind of art. Other people say I'm brave because I only have my art to feed me and my family. What they don't know is that I'm just afraid to not create the images in my mind still. I'm not afraid to fail. Only afraid of not following my art where it leads me, even if sometimes it bleeds me. Literary, that's not a lie, especially for those who know me. Whenever I see colleagues or classmates who studied art or drew a lot, then they're surprised all these years I continued making art. Then I reply, I'm more surprised that I never stopped. Beautiful handcuffs, customizable, bounded in time. Bought my freedom by not selling my time.
I wanna see what's inside beneath the lens of you. I planned to be productive today, but instead I saw a photo of you. Of you. I was out there, losing time, losing life. Digital pitchforks and knots at the flaming post, extinguishing smileys. And we were amongst a sea of people, lucky to get out of the sucking filled train, only to dive in a more crowded one on the line. Surf the current, and when you're stuck scrolling, eat her soul cactus, sharp and edgy with blooming flowers and thorns. There's something sweet inside, wet to the core, or beneath the layers of you. I was Esther, losing time, losing time, losing life, losing life, losing life. life isn't life, losing life. Digital pitchforks and knots tied to flaming posts, extinguishing small leaves. There we were amongst a sea of people, lucky to get out of a sardine-filled train, loaded to dive in a more crowded one online. Surf the current, and when you stop scrolling, you eat her soul. Cactus, sharp and edgy with blooming flowers and thorns, but there's something sweet inside, wet to the core, all beneath the layers of you. The layers of you.
Don't disturb the silence, the solemnly sitting, staring into the distance. Although only seemingly as seen, but then really onto another world, catching metaphors and antonyms, ready to repeat, fearing to deplete by the curiosity of some who wonders why one sits still, not for a screen, but to a blank leaf and black ink. Some even call themselves poets, but unfamiliar with the quiet, the disturber, not the disturbed. Maybe they aren't yet familiar with the glance to infinity. Double dip if you must, though the rhythm of life is filled with pauses even Mozart recognized. Thus waves and ripples in the pristine water is also timed not by chance, but by destiny, chaos and plans intertwined. Yet the soul's silence of thoughts without speaking is alien to some. When we sit still, the entire universe comes. Not for a screen, but to a blank leaf and black ink. Some even call themselves poets, but unfamiliar with the quiet, the disturber, not the disturbed. Maybe they aren't yet familiar with the glance to infinity.